Where did they go? Jeni Wilson and Stephen Thorp, illustrated by Rob Mancini. Mom goes to work. Where do you think she goes? She goes to the clinic. She's a doctor. My dad goes to work. Where do you think he goes? He goes to school. He's a teacher. My mom goes to work. Where do you think she goes? She goes to the fire station. She's a firefighter. Where do they work? Gardener, flight attendant, police officer, and a bus driver. Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter, illustrated by Stephanie McFetridge Britt. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank under the root of a big fir tree. "Now, my dears," said old Miss Rabbit one morning, "you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie by Miss McGregor. Now run along and don't get into mischief while I'm going out." Then old Miss Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. First he ate some lettuce and some French beans. Then he ate some radishes. And then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. But round the end of a cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor. Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting out young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling him out. "Stop, thief!" Peter was frightened. He rushed all over to the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages, and the other shoe among the potatoes. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went faster, so that I think he might have got away altogether if he had not run into a gooseberry net and caught by the large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. Peter gave himself up for lost and shed big tears, but his sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows who flew to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. Mr. McGregor came up with a sieve, which he intended to pop upon the top of Peter, but Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him, and rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not had so much water in it. Mr. McGregor was sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hidden underneath a flower pot. He began to turn them over, carefully looking under each. Presently, Peter sneezed. "Curdy, school!" Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. He tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he was tired of running after Peter. He went back to work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright, and he had not the least idea which way to go. Also, he was very damp with sitting in that can. After a time, he began to wander about, going lippity-lippity. Not very fast, but looking all around. He found a door in a wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. An old mouse was running in and out over the stone doorstep, carrying peas and beans to her family in the wood. Peter asked her which way to the gate, but she had such a large pea in her mouth that she could not answer. She only shook her head. Peter began to cry. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled. Presently he came to a pond where Mr. McGregor filled his water cans. A white cat was staring at some goldfish. She sat very, very still, but now and then the tip of her tail twitched as if it were alive. Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats from his cousin, little Benjamin Bunny. He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly, quite close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Scritch, scratch, scratch, scritch. Peter scuttered underneath the bushes, but presently, as nothing happened, he came out and climbed upon a wheelbarrow and peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. His back was turned toward Peter, and beyond him was the gate. Right there. Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could go along a straight walk behind some black currant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the wood outside the garden. Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Peter never stopped running or looked behind him till he got home to the big fir tree. He was so tired that he flopped down upon the nice soft sand on the floor of the rabbit hole and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost in a fortnight. I'm sorry to say that Peter was not very well during that evening. His mother put him to bed and made him some chamomile tea, and she gave a dose of it to Peter. 1 tablespoon should be taken at bedtime, but Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread, milk, and blackberries for supper. The end. Jeni Wilson and Sue Davis, illustrated by Vasja Koman. There are many living things in the yard. There is a bee on a flower in the yard. Can you find it? Oh, there it is. There is a worm on the ground in the yard. Can you find it? Oh, what is that? Yay, it's a worm. There is a caterpillar on a leaf in the yard. Can you find it? Oh, what is that? Oh my God, it's a caterpillar. There is a spider on a rock in the yard. Can you find it? Yay, we found a spider. There is a bird in a tree in the yard. Can you find it? Oh, there it is. Where are the creatures? Use the key to find it out. Number 1 is a bee. Number 2 is a worm. Number 3 is a caterpillar. Number 4 is a spider on the rock. And number 5 is the bird on the tree. Right there. Here is a pumpkin seed. It grows in the ground. It grows to be a vine. Soon the vine grows to be a flower. The flowers become pumpkins. Pumpkins are good in pies. Or as jack-o'-lanterns. Ooh, spooky. The end. Bear and Friend. B-E-A-R. Bears wander near and far. Bear. That looks like a panda. F-R-O-G. Frogs hop and jump happily. Ribbit, ribbit. Frog. Bees. B-E-E-S. Bees like sweet flowers best. Bees. Hare. H-A-R-E. Hares can run fast as fast can be. Hare. Deer. D-E-E-R. Deer graze beneath the stars. Lamb. L-A-M-B. Lamb's wool is fuzzy, all agree. Lamb. Seal. S-E-A-L. Seals go swimming in the swell. Bird. B-I-R-D. Birds swoop and soar from tree to tree. Goat. G-O-A-T. Goats eat everything they see. Goat. The end. At the library. What's at the library? Tall books about giraffes. Small books that make me laugh. Fat books about bugs and bees. Skinny books about the sea. Everything from A to Z. That's what you see at the library. Gray Rabbit's odd one out. One morning, Gray Rabbit could not find his favorite book. It's time to clean up, thought Rabbit. First, let's sort out the wooden animals. There were 2 of each kind, just like in Noah's Ark. But one thing was not an animal. What was the odd one out? A teaspoon. So Rabbit sorted out his cups and saucers, but one thing did not belong. What was it? A paintbrush. Rabbit gathered up his paints and brushes and made a useful sign. Now, what was the odd one out? A red and yellow polka dot ball. Rabbit found all his round things. Hey, stop rolling away. But one thing did not belong. What was it? A purple vase. Where can that go? Thought Rabbit. It's the only vase I have. Then he matched it up with all the other purple things. But something wasn't purple. What was it? A duck. That belonged with the other stuffed animals, so Rabbit lined them all up in a row. Now, what did not belong? A block. There were lots and lots of blocks. How could Rabbit sort them out? First he built a square of red blocks, then a wall of green blocks. The yellow blocks made a tower. What was that among the blue blocks? Look, Rabbit's favorite book. I'll sort out the blue blocks, he thought. Then I'll read my story. At last. The end. Markets. By Cassie Mayer. Or Global Community Markets by Cassie Mayer. Markets around the world. People shop at markets. Markets sell many things. People sell things at markets. Spices. Vendor. People buy things with money. Types of markets. Markets are big. Markets are small. Markets are on streets. Markets are in malls. What markets sell? Markets sell fish. Markets sell meat. Markets sell bread. Markets sell cheese. Markets sell clothes. Markets sell toys. Special markets. Markets are on water. Markets are open at night. Markets are special wherever you go. People need markets. The end. Market vocabulary. A mall is a big building that has shops and markets in it. A market is a place where you can go and buy things. Vendor is a person who sells things. Vendors work at markets. On the night you were born. On the night you were born, the moon smiled with such wonder that the stars peeked in to see you, and the night wind whispered, "Life will never be the same," because there had never been anyone like you, ever in the world. So enchanted with you were the wind and the rain that they whispered the sound of your wonderful name. The sound of your name is a magical one. Let's say it out loud before we go on. You are the one and only, ever you. It sailed through the farmland high on the breeze. Who in the world is exactly like you? Who? Over the ocean, you were a miracle. And through the trees, until everyone heard it and everyone knew of the one and only, ever you. Not once had there been such eyes, such a nose, such silly, wiggly, wonderful toes. In fact, I think I'll count to 3 so you can wiggle your toes for me. When the polar bears heard, they danced until dawn. From faraway places, the geese flew home. The moon stayed up until morning next day. the ladybugs flew away. So whenever you doubt just how special you are, and you wonder who loves you, and how much and how far, listen for geese honking high in the sky. They're singing a song to remember you by. Or notice the bears asleep at the zoo. It's because they've been dancing all night for you. Or drift off to sleep to the sound of the wind. Listen closely. It's whispering your name again. If the moon stays up until morning one day, or a ladybug lands and decides to stay, or a little bird sits at your window a while, it's because they're all hoping to see your smile. For never before in story or rhyme, not even once upon a time, has the world ever known you, my friend, and it never will, not ever again. Heaven blew every trumpet and played every horn on the wonderful, marvelous night you were born. The end. Should I say the saying on the end? Oh my God, Amma! Animal Diggers, written by Margaret, Clyne, and Rachel Griffiths. All of these animals dig. All of these animals dig burrows to live in. Some of these animals also dig for food. Meerkats. Meerkats live together in big burrows. The burrows are connected by many tunnels. Meerkats often use burrows that have been made by other animals. They make these burrows bigger. If there is no food nearby, the meerkats leave and find another burrow to live in. Rabbits. In some places, rabbits live together in warrens. A warren has many burrows. There are lots of ways in and out of the warren. In winter, some American rabbits move into burrows left by other animals. Most American rabbits do not dig their own burrows. Badgers. Badgers dig deep burrows in the sides of the hills. They have large claws and can dig very fast. Badgers dig to catch rats, mice, and rabbits. They store food in their burrows. Platypuses. Platypuses dig their burrows in the banks of the rivers. Some platypus burrows are up to 85 feet long. The female platypus takes care of her babies in the burrow. She comes out of this burrow at night. She hunts for small animals so she can feed her babies. Polar bears. The female polar bear digs into the side of a snowbank to make a den. She has her cubs in the den. She and her cubs leave the den in the spring. Prairie dogs. Prairie dogs live in large groups of 500 or more. They dig deep burrows. Prairie dogs come out of the burrows to eat grass and insects. Prairie dogs bark like dogs to warn each other of danger. Of a Small Brother by Richard J. Margolis, illustrated by Donald Carrick. School mornings. On school days, he gets up first. The lamp glares, the floor groans, the faucet spits. The hangers in our closet clang. When my bed shakes, I know he's tying his shoe. Time to get up. All my hats he wore. What a bore. All my pins are ripped. Pins he ripped. What a jip. All my books are books he read. What a head. All my fights are fights he fought. What a thought. All my steps are steps he tried. What a guide. All my teachers call me by my brother's name. What a shame. Dinner time. Slowly, slowly glides his hand beneath the table. I see his fingers clutch a corner of my napkin. Gently, gently slides the napkin off my lap. I pounce. Gotcha. You two better stop that. Stop what? Stop whatever it is you're doing. We are not doing anything. Then stop whatever it is you're not doing. Geez. Slowly glides my hand beneath the table. My fingers grope. Gently, gently slides the napkin. Questions. Are you asleep yet? Sort of. Do you ever think of weird things? Like what? Like the stars and planets and stuff? Sometimes. How did they get started? Don't know. Are we all just whirling around and round? Think so. What keeps us from falling off? Gravity. Is gravity like God? Sort of. Then what keeps God from falling off? Are you asleep yet? Cold potato. To be a second-class scout, you have to pass cooking. My brother and me, we make a fire in the backyard, and I shove a potato inside. When it gets all black, I roll it out with a stick. It's hard like a baseball. I say, "You cooked it, you eat it," he said. There's a lot you have to swallow when your brother's the patrol leader. his dog. My brother shuffles through the door carrying his little Sandy in his arms. His tears make Sandy's fur wet. When I try to pet her head, he pulls away. Don't, he says. She's dead. Then I pet my brother's head. She was his dog. Teased. Sometimes, when I'm teased, I don't cry. I go away. When I come back, my brother and his friends are doing something else. I remember. They forgot. Downhill. This time let me steer, and you be in the back. Do my feet go here? Do I follow this track? No, I'm really okay. I know what I'm doing. Hang on tight. Hey! You're not going where we're going. We're going. Everything's right. Everything's slick. Lean to the right. The left. Quick. Look out. Look out. Jump. This is the lousiest sled I've ever seen. Next time, you'll be in the front and I'll lean. Soups and juices. Do you hear about my big brother? The lucky stiff is sick. All day, they bring him soups and juices. When he calls, they come running. They keep puffing up his pillow. I'm supposed to stay out, but tonight I peeked in. He was asleep, the dumb kid. Kicked off his blanket, so I went and covered him up. He looked small. Uncle Julius. My Uncle Julius died. His hands were bony and his chin was rough. He gave me $1 once. When our telephone split the dark, I could see the sound. Sawtooth the lightning. Then I opened my eyes and heard Graham crying. Julikin, my Julikin. Long ago they lived together. He was her little brother. Last word. I have this neat truck. I race along the floor. One time it trips my brother. Toy trucks are for babies, he said, hiding it from me. Do I scream? That night, trying to sleep, I see my brother kneeling on his bed. He is pushing my truck along the blanket and over the pillow. You're a baby, I whisper and fall asleep. birthday. Today I'm an year older, and he isn't. I'm getting closer all the time. If he skipped just 2 birthdays while I was catching up, we'd be even. It would be so tough on him. It wouldn't be so tough on him. I'd given him presents anyway. Where am I? Go back to where we left the bikes and get the sandwiches. Do you remember the way? Yeah, You sure? I said yeah, didn't I? And I entered the dark woods. The bikes must be this way, or maybe this way. All the rocks and trees looked alike. Forget the bikes, find my brother. I slip in the mud and stumble through pricklies. Then I see him in our clearing. He is standing on a big rock, turning in all directions. He is eating a sandwich. My brother glares at me. Where have you been? You were gone so long I went back to find you. I take off my wet socks and shoes and glare at my brother. Give me peanut butter. Night eyes. From my brother's bed we watch the night train glimmer down the long valley. The passengers, they're in bed too, wondering if we're watching. We're all moving. We are all night eyes. Can't win. Which one of you did this? My mother asks, picking up the pieces. I start to say me, but my brother stares, shuts my mouth. Well, if neither of you can speak, both of you can go without candy this week. I wish my brother would do me favors. No candy, and still I owe him one. Two wheels. I told you I won't. It's too hard. I told you I can't. It's too hard. Didn't I tell you? My feet, they won't reach. My hands, they won't steer. It's too hard. Watch out. I'm tipping. Don't let go. I'm falling. Please, I give up. Not so fast, not so fast. I don't like this. Stop, stop, stop. Hey, I can't stop. Hey, I'm riding. I'm riding. Hey, 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 hey. Did you see me? What did I tell you? It was easy. Think you know Hippos by Tracy Taylor. Somewhere in the waters of Africa, there are hippos. See the hippo. Adult male hippos can weigh as much as 7,000 pounds. That's as heavy as 2 cars. See the face. A hippo's ears, eyes, and nose are on top of its head, so they stick out of the water when the hippo submerges. See the ear. The hippo hears sounds underwater with its jawbone. It hears sounds above water with its ears. the eye. Since a hippo's eyes are located on top of its head, it can see above the water while it's swimming. See the nose. A hippo has special muscles to close its nostrils. The nostrils close when the hippo goes underwater. See the mouth. A hippo's mouth can be 4 feet wide. That's wide enough to hold a big screen TV. See the teeth. A hippo's teeth can grow up to 3 feet long. That's as long as a grown person's arm. These teeth can have cut boats in half. See the hair. A hippo's skin oozes a pink slime that protects the hippo from sunburn. See the legs. A hippo will often walk more than 3 miles from the water to find food. See the foot. The hippo can run 30 miles per hour on land. This is faster than most golf carts and much faster than a person can run. See the tail. When a hippo's tail fans back and forth in the water, it breaks up the manure, making it easier for the fish to eat. This helps keep the water clean. See the baby. A baby often rides on its mother's back. In the water, it will stay with its mom for 8 years. Birds often hang out. See the ducks. Birds often hang out on the backs of sleeping hippos. They even fish from there. Power birds. See the. Most hippos are from Africa. More to know about the hippo. Hippopotami. Male hippos fight fierce battles with each other. These battles are often result in death. Hippopotamus. Hippos are considered one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. They have killed more people in Africa than any other mammal. Crocodiles are very careful not to anger the big hippos. A big bull hippo can bite a 10-foot crocodile in half. Dolphin. Hippos are close relatives of dolphins and whales. Dolphins and whales live in the ocean around Africa and the rest of the world. Can you match the words to the pictures? Tail goes with this picture of the tail. Mouth goes with this open mouth of a hippopotamus. Nose goes with its nostrils. Ducks goes with the ducks on its back. Done. Bye. by Sarah Tatler, illustrated by Dale Gottlieb. Mixing. Shaping. Baking. Sniffing. Tasting. Yummy.